If we just talk about food in general, the types of food that you're consuming, the timing of the day that you're consuming such food is one tactic. If you wake up in the morning, your food is that low, if you have it in you and within your schedule to be able to fast for a little bit and then push your meals out a little further, it can help you throughout the day. It's almost kind of scary too when you think about like the type of job that people have, whether that's like they're a nurse or they're a first responder, engineers, make sure that they are mentally sound and sharp. It's extremely challenging because this brain fog that comes on and you're just like food focused.
Michael Warner, a health optimization and physique coach dedicated to transforming bodies and enhancing lives.
With a focus on health, hormone balance, and risk mitigation, Michael helps both men and women unlock their full potential inside and out.
If that can be mastered, it does bring on such a higher reward. I think it does begin to build these types of foundations where you're like, hey, I did this, I accomplished this. Now my baseline is so much higher than it used to be. I can withstand whatever sort of temptations that are coming at me now. It does get better and improve over time.
Can you explain nutritional partitioning?
Yeah, so when you...
In this episode, you're going to hear from one of my jacked friends, Michael Warner. Not only is he a specialist at body composition, but he does it the right way, looking at your blood work, designing a program that's going to meet your lifestyle, and also working with you to develop high-performance habits that can get you on track to where you want to be. If you ever wanted to get an insight to working with somebody who looks at the finer details of a program so that it can work with the best performers on stage, this episode's for you. Oh, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother.
My man. So, I was debating to do this with our shirts off. I was.
Yeah, maybe.
I was.
We could do another take, maybe.
I mean, it's okay. I have zero body dysmorphia. So I figure that's like the best place to start the conversation because most bodybuilders get into bodybuilding because of body dysmorphia.
Oh, yeah. 100%. That's...
Lift up a shirt for that. Let's get the camera. Let's get get a good. We got the Sonys. We got the triple shot. Lift it up. Look at this thing. This is him fat. This is you fat.
Yeah, it's me like
Man,
season.
that is good.
Very fat girl.
That's all right. I was hoping to get, I said, hey, your guest just got here. I was like, all right, he's in a banana hammock. He's tanned up, right? And he's fucking shredded.
I was doing push-ups in there.
You were? You got to look good.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Real quick.
So, and he wears his shirt like this so that his traps sit up. I feel like I'm back in football days.
Yeah, exactly. I'm all out of breath and sweaty hair.
It's awesome, man. Michael. All right. I like it because the last time when I have to call people Michael, I feel like it's me. I'm like, what did I do? It's my middle name.
Yeah, okay,
it's my middle name. So it's always like,
okay,
Justin Michael.
Yeah.
Shit. So,
yeah, body dysmorphia is pretty much hand in hand with a lot of bodybuilders.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Oh, God, that's a tough question, getting down to it. Maybe it comes down to like confidence or like the kind of the childhood, like leading up to who they are and just kind of building like a confidence or a sense of self-esteem, things like that. I was right.
You're good.
And there's never, especially when you're like in front of a judge or in front of other people, or you put yourself online, like you're always subjecting yourself to that judgment. And I think it's just like perpetual. And then you look yourself in the mirror like, damn, I should be bigger or I should be stronger or whatever it is, and then you see professionals and bodybuilders and, whatever else may be the case. And then it's just a cycle that just keeps going, especially if you're competitive.
Yeah, of course. It's also a sport specifically that if you put the work in, you will get an outcome.
Yes.
So I understand that there is genetic gifts attached to the way people grow. There is, statue posture, the way that your body's built.
Right.
But you could change your physical state and the way people look at you. And there's also like the illusion in bodybuilding that a lot of people don't talk about. Most people will probably be surprised that I know much about the sport because it's not something I dabble in at all. I normally deal with it today when there's like major problems because people are running into issues, and then I'm like, I'll jump in and it's fun. Plus, I tend to find that particularly the sport of bodybuilding is the best human experiments because they're the most disciplined group of people. There's two groups of people in my entire coaching career, I could tell you with confidence, that are the most disciplined, and that is bodybuilders and wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a wrestler. So I was never a bodybuilder. But I have had the experience to be able to work with people that are getting into prep and going on stage. And there's something about being on stage that there's nowhere to hide.
Very much.
right? You're completely exposed. Everything about you is on, not just on the stage to be seen, but flashlights being shined in your every corner. So the only shadow you could create is the shadow in which your body creates.
Yeah.
So you'll never be able to hide, oh man, I don't really look good. Like, no. That you're not going to be able to hide there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in sports, we could hide your weaknesses. In bodybuilding, they expose them.
Completely exposed. You know, exposed, either you expose yourself or you're exposed next to other people. For sure.
And with this, you know, you talk about the confidence to like get on stage. I would imagine it would probably give you a lot of confidence in other areas of your life.
Yeah, I think not only the act of like getting on stage and doing that and feeling like, wow, I did that. It's so much deeper than that. It's really the whole process that's behind that. And I think a lot of that is missed or lost on people. And this can be really mirrored in other aspects or areas of your life. If you go through some sort of intense training, whatever it is, you go through college, you graduate school, like you finish, you're like, holy shit, like I've accomplished something like really hard. With bodybuilding, it's in the same way, except it's requires a whole lot of like mental tenacity and strength just to get through literally the day to day, getting up off the couch, like not eating more than you're supposed to do, like being insanely routine with everything. And so after that experience, when you get off the stage, it really is an overwhelming, like, some people cry afterwards, like, wow, I really did this and it was really cool. So it is transformative, to say the least, on both the mental, emotional, and physical level, for sure.
If you are a small business that believes that you are better than your competition, but you are not recognized for how good you are, and you want to build your brand and drive attention, need a brand new website, or want just general help on marketing? Sites at Scale.
Yeah, I think that it is very valuable for everybody at least once in their life to try to push their limit to find out what they're capable of. And if they are not really in tune with their body, bodybuilding will give you that kind of level of like awareness of their body. I think there's all different sports, jiu-jitsu and different martial arts that are individual sports that you could learn to find out so much about who you are. However, one of the cool things about bodybuilding is the discipline in the day-to-day. It's just like learning to accept that you're going to be hungry and that you're not going to die.
Right. Yeah.
Because when you're in prep, how hungry are you?
Oh, it's there's levels, you know, there's definitely levels to it. The hunger is constant. You know, I think what people don't realize at first is that when the hunger comes on, it's extremely powerful and you can't get past it. It's just on your mind all the time. And then you see, you know, you're scrolling through whatever social media feed, and then you see all this food, and you're, of course, every bodybuilder, I love to eat, right? Like you watch all these shows like Chopped or whatever. But what comes beyond that, what starts to take over, is the fatigue that people don't expect and understand when you're so depleted. So, you know, your expenditure is so high and your intake is so low. That fatigue almost starts to take over, and you're like, dude, I don't even care anymore. I'm just like tired. And, but yeah, the hunger is immense.
And what do you do to to get through that?
There's different tactics, you know, keeping yourself busy is one of them. You know, making sure that if we just talk about food in general, the types of food that you're consuming, the timing of the day that you're consuming such food is one tactic, right? So like if you wake up in the morning, your food is that low, if you have it in you and within your schedule to be able to fast for a little bit and then push your meals out a little further, it can help you, you know, throughout the day. The types of food that you're eating as well, foods that are like, first one that comes to mind is kind of off the wall, but like pumpkin. Yeah, canned pumpkin is like high in volume, but like not that high in carbohydrates.
Exactly.
And so it's
like the idea of filling you up feels good, right?
Exactly.
So you can have a lower calorie but high volume food. Just the fact that it takes up space feels good.
Exactly.
Because really high nutrient dense foods are not very volume filling.
Exactly.
So it's like, shit, I just ate my caloric allowance for this meal, and it's like I'm still hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And I laugh because I'm like, oh, I don't care, so I'm gonna just eat until I'm full.
Right.
But the skill and the art of learning how to eat until you're not satisfied, but until you've satisfied the role that food takes. Where if you could then learn to use food as a utility, it's a skill.
It's an absolute skill. It's extremely challenging in today's, day and age, with the amount of delicious food, highly palatable foods that are out there.
And the convenience of food.
That is a major part of it too.
The fact that I'm not really that hungry because I don't have anything in my fridge. That used to be the easiest way for me to help people overcome is you're going to go to the grocery store and you're going to make a choice.
Right.
And the power of that choice is the only restraint and like willpower you need, because once you get home, you're not going to go back out to the store.
Yeah.
So there was a long part of my coaching career where it was a little bit easier than what you have today in your coaching career, where I would work with people and it's like, you're going to go down those aisles, you're going to go into that environment and you're going to pick out what you need. And that the power of choice in that moment is all the willpower you need.
Right.
Because once you get home, if it's not in your fridge and it's not in your cupboard,
right,
then you're not going to eat it.
Exactly.
But today, we just ordered lunch and I pressed the fucking button and I asked her, like, double meat? You got to do that. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like,
yeah. So it's too easy.
It's easy. Press the button. That was it.
It's too easy.
And the fact that we're going to get that thing delivered to us so quickly, that convenience factor is what, in my opinion, makes the willpower harder.
Extremely hard.
Because now it's always on your mind because you're always hungry. And there's a lot of things that happen to the brain actually when you're fasting that's very beneficial. There's a lot of things that happen to the body when you're fasting that's very health oriented and beneficial. But when it starts to attack your actual mental state and emotional state of how you approach your work in this other area, because most bodybuilders aren't professionals. The majority of people that even have a pro card can't afford the lifestyle that they need to actually hold their pro card.
That's right.
So everybody that's ever been on stage, everyone that's continuing to be on stage has a challenge of they have to be mentally clear to do a job when probably they're suboptimal mentally for that role physically because of depletion.
Absolutely. It's almost kind of scary too when you think about it, like the type of job that people have, and whether that's like they're a nurse or they're a first responder, something like that, or an engineer, something like that, having to make sure that they are mentally sound and sharp. It's extremely challenging because this brain fog that comes on, and you're just like food focused, and that's not even considering the history somebody has had with eating and food in general from when they were a kid to up to the point when they're competing, which is a large component as well. So to your point, like it is so much easier. It is so convenient now to be able to get that food, which, in the end, if that can be mastered, it does bring on such a higher reward capacity that I think it does begin to build these types of foundations where you're like, hey, I did this, I accomplished this. Now my threshold, now my baseline is so much higher than it used to be. And I can withstand whatever sort of temptations that are coming at me now. And it does get better and improve over time. I could say that firsthand. My first prep, I was certainly cheating, getting an extra peanut butter or whatever.
People don't realize like what your calorie allotment of peanut butter is. And you're like, it's a fucking dime. It's literally the size of a quarter. Max. And I'm not talking about like a quarter and like a big lump on top. I'm talking like less than a Hershey's Kiss.
Exactly.
Exactly. We had one of our coaches, Connor. We had a challenge, and every year I do a 10-day fast.
Oof.
And I'm quite good at them, and I backed off over the years a little bit because they become to the point where they're like not I don't have a 10-day window to be able to do it because I have to maybe speak or do other things and it affects me. So, but I'm going to do a 3, a 5, or a 10-day pretty much every year. And because I think it's generally healthy for you.
Mm-hmm.
It also becomes a little bit of like a systems check for me.
Yeah.
So I get to be like, oh, cool. Like I need to do a little health systems check. So I do these fast. And I created a program for him that was not a 10-day fast, but that was a very simple 10-day diet for him to do a little bit of a cut, and gave him a program, do the whole thing. I got some words for him. Yeah. I got some words for him. Now, Connor was an All-American. He won a national championship as a linebacker with Ohio State. So he's a baller. You know what I mean? And he's a big guy. He's a typical linebacker. He's just a big dude. Yeah. But, he wanted to kind of, get back in that kind of shape without doing the physical work that he used to do to be in that shape when he was younger, because he had been through major surgeries and injuries and he needed to do it. So diet is the way to do it. Right. Once you learn you can't outrun a bad diet, you start to realize that your diet is actually the problem. Right. Most people think it's the training. Yeah. More often than not, it's definitely the diet. And when I laid out the game plan for him. This son of a gun would sneak in one Hershey's Kiss a night. He's like, I just needed it. One little Hershey's Kiss a night. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, when you add that up over the course of like 10 days or a month, the amount of calories that you took in is unreal. And people realize, dude, that's 2.5 pounds of fat.
That's it.
And you don't realize it because you are at a certain point, but like everyone can be a little bit leaner. Everyone could be a little bit tighter with certain things. And every little thing adds up. It makes a huge difference. He needed that for more mental. Right. Are there solutions that you feel that you could give that are your little tricks of the trade that are good mental substitutes for nutritional depletion at the mental level, so that they get over that little bit of a mental state of, all right, I could have a rice cracker, I could have something. Is there something that's a snack?
Yeah, I think it depends. And there's a line that you have to walk, a fine line, in understanding the nature of the individual and like their impulses and this sort of reward feedback that you'll give somebody if you do give them a snack. Say you give somebody a rice cake, right? What's that reward feedback mechanism in terms of how they feel about themselves and then how they report back to you as the coach, right? So, and then showing them what sort of feedback is potentially happening as a result of like physically as what's happening there. So if you give somebody, hey, take a rice cake, no big deal. I understand it's hard. They eat that rice cake. What is their, like, what's going through their head? Are they, I feel better now. Thank you. But damn, I wish I was stronger. I wish I didn't have to have that rice cake. I wish I didn't ask for this sort of like, little snack or whatever.
If you are an online trainer or coach looking to scale your business online and provide nutrition lessons, coaching, or training to clients, the #1 software for personal trainers, Coach Catalyst.
Do they feel that they're cheating on themselves?
Yes, exactly.
It starts to become a kink in the armor a little bit. So then they start to question, like, I don't have the mental fortitude to handle this. Maybe I'm not as good. So the reason why I brought that up is because for the general population, if you could find some moments to give them these little periods of time where you could train them into like, I needed that rice cake. I needed that peanut butter. I needed that fruit. I needed that beef jerky. But you're adding calories.
Right.
But then on the flip side of that slowly trains them to understand that when they don't need it, they don't need to go from 0 to cold turkey. Right. They could go from, or like eating, thousands of calories to eating basically nothing. Can they go from slightly cheating to, hey, now I've made this commitment to myself. This is what this means. It's a little bit harder, but I'm a little bit more prepared. I now know what it means to feel satiated when I have that snack, and I don't need that anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. You're essentially just conditioning them to understand where that threshold is. And as a coach and somebody that wants to push somebody to be better, you learn where those sort of thresholds are. And obviously you're constantly sort of pushing somebody, and, you know, some people are better about it than others to help others kind of navigate through these, you know, hurdles. But that's where the experience and time comes in, and understanding who is this person at their core, what drives them, and what turns them against themselves or turns them against coaching or against feedback. And those are literally like the primary things that you have to understand as a coach, and that you develop more over time. That it's like skill acquisition in terms of like somebody's character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where you are now, you do a lot of blood work with a lot of your athletes. You look at everything that they're, you know, where they are today at the baseline level, where do they want to go, and then the gaps to help them get there. What does your coaching look like? Like what does it take if someone comes to you not having experience? Because I have seen you work with really high-end people that they haven't kind of crossed that. They know that there's some more missed opportunities, and they want to work with you to be like, all right, I want someone that's on top of their game. So they work with you there. But you do work with some people that are not there yet. Right. What does it take? Like the person that's just getting started, and say, I want to go down this road, but I don't want to make the mistakes that everyone has. They find you, which is like a lottery, right?
Yeah.
You know, because there's everybody out there, everybody and their sons out there saying, I could do it because I've you know, slammed a few needles in me, and I you know, I know what to do. But to do it the right way with the right person it's a cheat code.
Yeah.
It's really a cheat code. So if they stumbled upon you and they heard you, what would be the process to work with you?
Yeah. So generally it's obviously a consult from the start.
Why is that important?
I need to understand where they are, where they're at as a person, where they, how transparent they can be about themselves, and what sort of goals that they have, what sort of hurdles that they recognize that's inhibiting them from getting to that goal, timeline wise, how realistic it is to reach that goal, and if it's unrealistic, because it's all about making sure that they understand the most clear path to that goal, and it doesn't always align with what they are hoping to find. So that consultation is always like on a FaceTime, whether it's like we sit down or a Zoom call, stuff like that. It's never over the phone.
And the reason why is because of the nuances, what you could tell, how they approach things. Is it like, just like, are they giving you any sort of signs that you're going to run into later on that you're like, hey, you're not being very transparent with me. You're not being as honest as you think you are, or you don't know yourself that well.
Exactly. And it's kind of recognizing these cues, like body language. How are they moving? If they ask them a certain question, are they kind of dodging it? Do they just kind of divert? You know, a lot of times you hear that with food, like, hey, what's like kind of the diet looking like in general?
I have 3 food groups your entire life. And I got a fun story to tell you. Meat, right? It's got to be like big protein source. Pizza and Haagen-Dazs specifically. Not ice cream. Because like I don't want to waste the calories on something I don't like. But that's a guaranteed quality production. So those are my 3. If I'm really looking for dessert, I'm going to go into like McConnell's ice cream because that's really good. Right. Those are my food groups. So
not bad.
Really messed up. My dad wanted to teach me this concept of, you know, progressive overload, or the body the ability to adapt. And it was like, I would do the same routine every morning, every day, which was like your push-ups, your pull-ups, your sit-ups, your dips, right? And he's like, your body adapts to things. You know, you do something for, 6 weeks. At that point, your body's adapted to it. It's just part of your routine. It's not going to have the same stimulus anymore. So he goes, yeah, you've maintained that level of strength, but as you're being so young, and at the time, I think I was in maybe 5th or 6th grade. I was in 6th grade. And I was like doing the reps, and I was a fat kid. I grew up as my nickname growing up was Trunk and Twinkie. Oh, so I have no body disorder. I'll take my shirt off right now next to you. I don't care, because everybody made fun of me, and I really like, all right, cool. Like, I'll whip your ass being fat. How's that feel to get your ass beat by a fat kid? Right? So, matter of fact, like in my fight game, like I like fighting guys that are tall, and I like fighting guys that look the part. Right. It's a good look for me. Yeah, I like that. Like, I don't want to fight a guy that looks a little like down. No, I like that. That's my little bit of advantage. Yeah. So he'd kind of taught me like, hey, you do your push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups like every day. You're going to just adapt to it. Yeah, you'll maintain that level, but that's not going to really create the stimulus that you need. So your body's ability to adapt is incredible. I'm 6th grade, mind you. So I would walk to school and back. And on my way, there was a Haagen-Dazs. And I, for 6 weeks, ate a pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream every day. 20 pounds later, your body does not adapt to nutrition the way they say it works. It's not the same. But my thought and my theory is 6th grade was that if I ate the exact same thing every day, pint of Haagen-Dazs every single day, my body would adapt to it, and then I could just have that every single day and it wouldn't affect you.
Ideally.
That's not true.
Ideally.
So he didn't thoroughly explain the law of thermodynamics to me. He did not explain to me like what that meant.
Yeah.
So my understanding at that age was a little different. And I paid the price because, by the way, it takes 6 weeks to put it on. It doesn't take 6 weeks to take it off. That's some bullshit too. It takes a lot longer to take it off than it does to put it on.
Yeah.
So you do this evaluation. And then you decide at that point, are they a good fit or not?
Yeah, absolutely. And what direction it is we would need to go. But predominantly the direction with anybody when we first start is I assess. Speaking of the food thing really quick, one thing that I like to do is I ask people about their diet and what it's like. A lot of the times what will kind of lead me on to them either lying is when they will dive in about, I try to eat these foods, X, Y, Z, and they, for the most part, they summarize a high quality foods. And I'm like, okay, cool. So what'd you eat today? And
it was a rough day. I had some stuff going on. I'm traveling. It's not a really normal day for me. Yeah.
That's like the one that they're always like, oh shit. Okay. So after that, really what I like to do is just establish, hey, like when's the last time you had any sort of lab work done? Obviously go through like family history, any sort of, like, are you on any medication, alcohol, prescription drugs and recreational drugs, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I like to establish where they're at with their lab work, and it's more comprehensive than they would probably get from their primary care.
Of course.
Yeah. Most of the time their primary care isn't getting comprehensive labs.
So a couple of reasons why people don't get comprehensive labs from their primary care is because people look at disease. And unless the body's in a state that is not, something's not working, there's no reason for them to actually write a script for that particular thing. And that's the main thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Your primary care wants to see you if something is going wrong. It's not proactive care. It's sort of reactive care, which is typical Western medicine historically anyway. So we start off with lab work, wait for that lab work to come back. And then we align that with the lifestyle habits. What does your day to day look like? A day in the life, Coach Cat, what are we doing from the second you get up to the second you go to bed? From diet, from work, are you sedentary all day? Are you, taking steps all day because of your coaching? What's going on? So I get a sort of I'm dropped into the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And from that point on, then we establish, okay, what are the particular goals you have and then the hurdles you have to get there? And that's when, I align it all and start making the small jumps forward, plan it all out from the workouts, the nutrition, any sort of adjustments we would need to make, like diet, lifestyle, to manage what's going on in the serum labs. And then, you can also consider what's going on. Like, do you need other help for hormone help?
Mm-hmm.
And this is like all of hormones. It's not just like testosterone, sex hormones. It's anything, whether it's thyroid, things like that.
Yeah.
So we adjust from that point moving forward, which takes time. It's never a, hey, let's take X amount of drug and then you're going to be good to go. You take it.
It was that easy, right?
Ideally.
Yeah.
And then there's beyond, right, for the competitors. So everybody has to do that sort of at its core.
Well, one is health optimization. The other one is basically lifestyle expectations. And then the next one is like true performance.
There's performance.
Yeah. So people need to understand that because they skip level in their mind.
Right.
But they've not gone through that work.
If you want to bring your professional grade studio on the road to record high quality content, Go Box Studio.
Maybe a good example to discuss is a lot of people look shredded, but like how far are you out from being on stage right now?
Oh man, I'm at least like 16 plus week. I'm probably like 20-ish pounds.
But like people don't put that in perspective because they're like, oh my God, you're ready. And you're like, no way, that's not the case. And then like to go from normal to be where I am to this, right? It take years.
Yeah.
It's not like, 6-week program, 8-week program. Like, dude, like it's going to take years.
No.
And I find it fascinating, this idea of like instant gratification that we want in this world. I find it fascinating where the expectation management, there's shortcuts, but there's also downfalls to those shortcuts.
Absolutely. You can see that with the GLP-1s, GIP. You can see that with the Ozempic, tirzepatide, Mounjaro. You see that a lot. And yeah, you can get shredded really fast. It's kind of like somebody jumping on keto. Oh, my friend lost like 20 pounds in X amount of weeks. Like, yeah, sure. But like how much muscle mass was either, like saved during that process or if anything was gained at all. So you have to consider that as well too. Like I'm actually currently like I dropped 20 pounds from like the end of January. Oh, wow. So like I'm cutting right now, but I'm still, very full.
One of your lunch here now.
I'm gonna, I'll consider it.
Peer pressure. And so like for me, when I travel, I like to eat. Yeah. So when I travel, that's where I have my food. I get to be with friends. I believe in breaking bread with people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I also think that food's a universal language. So it's really important to me. But when I'm at home, I eat the same thing every day since I was a kid. Since I was a kid.
Wow.
Cuban, Irish family, it's chicken and rice, and rice and steak. It's like Thai, like my wife's like, hey, you want me to just like make a rice bowl? It's like the same thing. And later on in my years, I started to, gravitate to, I love like chips and guac and chips and salsa. I could pretty much eat. You cannot have chips in the house. Like if we have a couple rules, like you cannot have chips in the house because like one bag is one serving.
Right.
So, but my wife was like, I was like, I don't like avocados because my parents would wake up, like they would just grab an avocado, salt on it, and that was like their thing, like
not bad.
Since they were, since I was a kid, that's like a thing, that's their snack, right? But I didn't like avocados, but I loved like chips and guac. And my wife looked at me one day and goes, you do know that's avocado. No way. Like here I am, like I got a nutritional biochemistry background. Like I understand that, like, mind blown, right? Like that's unbelievable. It's amazing what a little like salt and garlic and things could make this thing taste like. But for me, if it's gonna be like high fat in any environment for me, because I actually do really well in a high fat, high protein environment. I don't do well on a high carb environment from a weight standpoint. I will get real big. People laugh, but like right now I'll be 235. I don't lift, like not a joke. Like I don't lift, and it hurts, and I'd been up to 275, but not like what's the heaviest you've been?
I was 231 at the start of this. That was the heaviest.
Yeah. So like, but a big bodybuilder could be like 270 in the off season. They huge, 3.5 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm like 270. People are like, oh, you're big. I'm like, dude, pump the brakes. That's sloppy. Like, let's establish what 275, 280, that's sloppy. That's like blood pressure shot through the roof because I had to tie my shoes sloppy, not, I can barely wipe my ass because I have a lot that's stopping me from being able to bend. Like, there's a difference. People need to understand that. Like, the weight is very different. But when I'm at home, I eat the same thing every day. I have a very, very boring diet routine when I'm at home. Yeah. When I travel, heck no, we were at Javier's last night. Yeah. Steak fajitas, chips and guac, and salsa, of course. There's Strip House is one of my favorite restaurants here in Vegas. It's it's in the Planet Hollywood. It's been there forever. It's like a hidden gem.
Never been there. I'll have to go.
Oh yeah, it's a hidden gem, and it's been there forever. It's amazing steak. But if you're gonna be around me, you're gonna eat. We were all you can eat sushi right across the street here is amazing. That's where we went for lunch yesterday.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And it's like, and I was like, I just want a quick snack. That's what I told Chris. I was like, I just want a quick snack.
All you can eat for a quick snack.
And he's like, and he goes, well, let's take you to the sushi restaurant. That's quick. And I'm like, great. And the lady goes, do you want all you can eat? I'm like, no, we just need a quick snack. And he's like, no, we'll do all you can eat because it's cheaper.
Yeah. There you go.
Pure pressure.
How many rolls did you get out? How many rolls did you get
Pure pressure. I think I had like 9 plates that came through.
Yeah.
You know, and then and I had like 4 bowls of something else afterwards, and I could eat edamame like this much of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it was bad, like absolutely bad. So I don't have willpower. I know that about myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even try to pretend.
Yeah.
But if I'm competing now, mind you, not bodybuilding, but if I'm competing, if I need to get into a weight cut environment, if I need to get into a performance environment,
Right.
then let's fucking go.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I don't do it. Like there's no like you can't give me, my wife's constantly like, come on, like a little moderation, just stop. And I'm like, no.
So you flip that switch.
Yeah, I have to have a date.
Yeah.
I have to work back off of that date. I had to play the math game, you know, and then I just go like, it's math.
Yeah, that's it.
Like it's just math. And that's all. Justin Harris worked for me. I've known Justin for years, 20 plus years. And I'm like, hey, I know you're busy. Like, do a friend a favor. Can I be a client for a little bit? And he's like, all right, we're going to do this thing. We're going to have it. You can eat as much as you want. You know, like you get this one feeding window as much as you want. I was like, Justin, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah. I mean, literally like 2 pizzas, full pints of Haagen-Dazs, full pint. Like I do vanilla chocolate chip, strawberry. And then if I really want to be bad, I'm going to go to Breyer's cookies and cream.
That's the problem.
Then, and then it's just going to be double stuffed Oreos. And the double stuffed Oreos are what fucked me up. Those really wreck me. But I could eat a bunch of Haagen-Dazs and not feel bad.
Like mentally or like physically?
No, physically, Haagen-Dazs doesn't bother me. The one thing the body is adapted to is Haagen-Dazs, but it didn't adapt to the calories.
I see. Okay.
But so then he's like, hey, we got to crush this window down. We got to condense this window. And it's also too, I believe there's a value to once you get lean, you could actually have those feedings.
Oh yeah.
But you can't do that when you're not at that point. So I don't think I've ever, other than wrestling and fight sports, like I've never dropped below 8%. So an 8 to 12 window is a really good body comp window for me. But I'll sit always between that 12 to 22 and in a really bad range. And that as I get bigger, it gets worse.
Right.
And then you start to see the hormone levels change. You start to see the blood work change. You start to see a number of other things like really be affected.
Yes.
I do believe there's so many health benefits of fasting. I think there's so many health benefits of once a year for the elite adult that wants to be a high performer from a health standpoint. And let's not talk about sports for a second, but from an elite, do you want to be the health leader of your family?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to be the health leader of your family, once a year, you should try to get lean. Once a year, you should say, hey, I'm going to go get beach ready. I'm going to run a 16, 8-week, 12-week, whatever you need. Because for me to get like actual shredded, like legit, like in beach ready, it's going to take a half a year from me. Yeah. Because I'm so far out of that. Because if I did it too fast, too soon, my blood work would be wrecked.
Oh yeah, you don't want.
So that. I have no desire to take my sponge of liver, kidneys, organs and squeeze it so fast to where it all comes out, and that will affect me. Yeah. And only because of the fun that I've had in my life previously, I've done some damage, and I know that it's not worth it for me to do that too fast, too soon.
Right.
So it would take about 6 months. Now, if you maintain a performance environment lifestyle and you're regularly healthy and you sit at a lower body comp throughout the year, it's easier to get tighter on that leanness.
Yeah.
And it's a shorter window and you can do it. So my encouragement is for everybody to be in a general healthy environment, because as your blood work goes up and down, that's where it's really dangerous.
Incredibly dangerous. That's where, inflammatory markers go up. That's where, you're just less metabolically flexible and you don't have that capacity to, nutrient partitioning is not the same.
Can you explain nutritional partitioning?
Yeah. So when you consume any of your food, let's just say, you consume carbohydrates and that glucose comes in. If you have inflammation, if you are more insulin resistant. I don't really love using that word either, because I feel like it's so it like blurs the vision between like what's actually happening. So when insulin kind of allows this glucose to kind of uptake into the cell, like the muscle tissue or to fat, if you are inflamed, it's not going to be able to do that as efficiently. So that blood glucose will stay in the serum, in the blood, and that can lead to hyperglycemia. This can lead to, if you go on the extreme end, like diabetes. So if you're lean and you consume this food, your body's going to utilize it like appropriately. And if you are obese or if you are more insulin resistant, your body is not going to be able to shuttle those nutrients and utilize them all, because you just have so much more energy coming in that you can actually utilize because your expenditure isn't there, because you're not metabolically flexible. Then that's when you start to hang on. You know, you get that inflammation, you get downregulation of thyroid hormone, sex hormones, testosterone, everything. So energy will go down, brain fog will set in, you'll just be tired throughout the day. If you feel like at any point throughout the day, you're like, man, I could sit here on this couch and I could pass out. Like, that's not normal.
That's not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's actually normal because the population's gotten so unhealthy.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not good. It's a misrepresentation of the environment that most people are in, because they feel like that is normal. Everyone's like that. Everyone feels that way, and they can attach that to others.
Right. Yeah.
So without a doubt, if that is not something that you want, there's actually a solution for it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So that's where understanding where you're at a baseline. Where's the lab work at? What do we need to do to kind of kickstart you? And if we need to have any sort of intervention of hormone replacement, alongside different dietary strategies, sleep is a major one that people sleep on. Managing all of these sort of variables is extremely important. Anyway, just to make sure that you're metabolically flexible, nutrient partitioning is at its best, because you're right. When you are leaner throughout the year, it is easier to make these shifts in terms of, hey, I want to get a little bit leaner, and I can do so in less than 6 month time frame. Sure. But it is incredibly helpful. And I do also encourage anybody to at least like once a year, hey, try to, get leaner, push yourself to go there. Because the further away you get from that, the less likely you are to kind of continue doing that. Like, most people don't change until the pain of where they are exceeds the pain of change. Right. So we need to understand that how do we keep ourselves within this threshold of, okay, we're getting a little bit too far. Okay, we're in a good spot.
It's also too, when you look at pain management, when the pain gets to the point where it's a 9, 10, and it's at that point, to get it back down is too hard.
Yeah.
When the health side of things is like, hey, you have this heart attack scare, if you have like kidney stones, it's these scares, then you're like, oh, I got to really start to take care of myself. When you have this, I'm so overweight, it's so much harder. So if you can kind of maintain that general activity and lifestyle, it's significantly better for you.
Significantly. And there's ways to do that. I think people, because of they want things like here and now, they forget about the passive things that they can do just to make that easier.
What are some of those?
All right. Like walking, getting in just a decent amount of steps. I don't want to say the number. I don't want to throw the 10,000 word out there. Like a lot of people do. Hey, get 10,000 steps a day. Yeah, that's great. But is that realistic for everybody? Maybe not.
If you are an executive leader that is looking to get in the best shape of your life from a health standpoint and want the same coaches in your corner that are working with professional athletes, then reach out. Athlete HQ.
Just walking after meals is a quick and easy one.
It's actually good for you, though.
It is really good for you.
It's not enough activity to where it's really going to wreck your digestive side, but it's actually beneficial for that movement, because a lot of your blood is going to go into a concentrated, it's not going to move, but it's concentrating its energy to an area, to the digestive tract. And it takes time to kind of process that stuff. So this idea that you are going for a walk is very valuable for the rest of your body and for your brain too.
Yeah, exactly. Like getting outside, right? Like I have a walking pad because I'm in front of my desk and computer all day, but if I can, then I'll get outside and then I'll walk. Drinking enough water throughout the day.
Sure.
A lot of people just don't even do that. Like they run on coffee and energy drinks. Another ideal one is sleep. It's trying to have somewhat of a circadian rhythm that's consistent.
It's hard, yeah. For a lot of people,
Extremely hard.
a lot of people that's difficult. For me, it's almost impossible just because not just the travel, but having a global company, right, that works 12, like we're completely AM, PM shift hours. And also I am traveling, to Asia 4 times a year, to Europe probably 2 to 3 times, I'm going, coast to coast and then up and down on the East Coast 4 or 5 times a week sometimes. Right. And that is like just the idea that you're in a plane and in that tube, really not that healthy. So for me, some of the things that I found to be helpful is, when you don't have sunlight, it's movement. When you don't have movement, make sure you artificially get sunlight and you figure out ways to do some things. There's so much that people could do from an energetic standpoint of just creating a better environment and making their life easier. You talked about hydration. Like, you can't burn the candle at both ends. You can't say you're going to burn sleep and then you're not going to hydrate. You're going to not hydrate, but then you're not going to walk. Well, then you start feeling bad. And when you are overweight or out of shape, you can eat worse things because the ranges are actually like, you don't notice it as much. Right. But when you're super dialed in and you have like one thing that's bad, like that bad meal like not the cheap meal, but the meal that doesn't sit well with you, what ends up happening is you realize it sooner and it affects you more. And everyone's like, well, I'm such a high performer. And it's like, wait a second. If you put shitty gas in a Ferrari, it ain't going to run that well.
That's right.
But if you put shitty gas, in a Honda, it's going to run just fine. Yeah. Because it doesn't have the performance difference to notice it.
Exactly.
So people will look at it and it's just the different like frameworks that they have to identify and see.
Yeah. I think this is why, like you mentioned earlier, like bodybuilders can be really fascinating to work with. And this is one of the big reasons why I found like such a passion in it, because it's just interesting to me when I can manage any sort of small particular variable and notice a result, or if I can get incredibly lean and then I have X meal afterwards with X amount of carbs or X amount of fat or X amount of sodium and X amount of water, how is my body like actually changing? I can actually see and feel and notice that difference. That difference is happening to every individual, but because I'm like monitored everything to the craziest degree, like I can see it actually happening. And it's fascinating to me, like what the body can do and then what the body can do when the mind like allows it to go there. So
it seems like you really like the experiment side.
Absolutely. Yeah. I am like my own science experiment. And
it's really cool because bodybuilders are like the best human experiments because they're the most disciplined.
Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely think so. Just because it's so hard. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if I look at somebody like a professional hockey player, like you guys are smashing around like this puck on ice, on skates, like it's just crazy. Gymnastics, anything like that. But to be able to not allow yourself to eat a particular amount or to eat at a particular time, it's incredibly hard because it's the most basic thing that we are driven to do, not like biologically, not just like mentally, and then you add the mental, the cultural, the sort of, like food is like a language for everybody. When you add all these layers on top of it, it almost seems impossible.
Yeah, but I think what's really cool is like when you are trying to achieve something from a limit standpoint, you're trying to achieve your human limit. What you tend to find is that's what you really grow. That's when you grow. It's like, I did something that was hard.
Yeah.
And you don't need to do something hard all the time. But this idea that I pursued this thing, it made me a better person. And I could take this lesson from one thing to the other is very valuable.
Yeah. That's really the lesson that drives change. When you can put yourself through something really, really challenging. And I encourage everybody to do that because on the other side of that is something it's hard to describe, like it's literally transformative. And it's something that I'll continue to do. I can't bodybuild forever, but I can take that sort of challenge and I can push it into something else.
It's also cool because maybe you won't be bodybuilding as a competitive sport forever, but you could do the things that were that. So you could live forever.
I could, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which,
and the things that, like, you could diet and you could become your own experiment forever, and then you could help other people forever. So I think that the skills that you learn in a competitive part of your world help you kind of turn this into, you know, your lifestyle and your legacy a little bit, because it's something that it's just who you are.
Yeah, exactly. And that, like, I'll live longer, God forbid, like, accidents happen, but I will be able to live longer if I do this responsibly, if I manage my lab work, if I, am checking everything along the way. I'll be able to move more, like I've worked on the clinical side, like as like a first responder. I've seen people that can't get out of bed, can't get up, like off the toilet or to the toilet, can't get up off the couch. I refuse to be that person, and if I continue to live my life like I am, then I won't have any type of mobility issues. I won't have any type of, brain fog and things like this that we see with old age. We don't have to be that person. We have the power to change that. Some people don't realize or recognize that they have that power. And I feel like it's literally a responsibility of mine to help people understand, like, hey, there is a better life out there. And even though you don't know how to get there, like, please let me show you the way.
Yeah, well, that's super inspiring. And I think that if you empower others to take ownership of their life, they could actually have a longer life.
Yeah.
So I'm excited that we did this, learned a lot. Yes. And I think what we'd like to do potentially is maybe break down optimal practices for people that come into your world that you work with, so that we could show the world what they could actually do practically.
Yeah.
Really cool, man. Thank you so much, man.
Of course. Thanks a lot, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah.